Do you know what I love about that intro video? It's that every time someone sees it for the first time, I get to watch their reaction of just sheer dismay of how poor it is. But
It's
guys, welcome. It's
been a
great to
while
be back.
since I've seen it, in fairness.
It's been a while since we've done anything.
I know.
We've kind of steered away. But Hannah, would you say this is the final of this season, or would you say this is the start of next season?
No,
What
I
do you
think
reckon?
this is like
This is pre-season.
pre-season premium content.
It is. It's an exclusive. It's something that we've not done for a while. We used to do a lot of interviews, and we kind of stepped away from it a little bit when Hannah moved up to League One selfishly and left me in League Two. Made it a little bit more difficult. But tonight we've got a belter. Really, really excited to be able to do this. I would say right now the hottest prospect in English football. Like the biggest free agent right now. Every club seems to be talking about him, and every fan base seems to be pushing him about. And now we get to find out exactly what's happening and what hotel room he's staying in. We'll go into his stats in a minute, but I want to welcome Jake Tabor. Jake, welcome. How are you doing? You all right?
Yeah, good. Thank you for having me.
Not a problem. Yeah, so it's a very nice hotel room. There's been a lot of rumours, a lot of clubs mentioned. It's not a Premier Inn, as we've established. It's a much nicer hotel. Where in the world is Jake Tabor right now?
I'm in United Kingdom in England. It's nice weather outside, so it's probably not the northern part of the country. So
he's got a good point. He's got a good point.
Definitely not the Manchester area.
No, it's been lovely this last week, and today it has been shite. So Southern. I like it. Let's let people keep guessing. Do you know what's going to happen though, Jake? Someone will have stayed at that hotel.
Yeah.
And they are going to work out based on that picture that's hung up behind that bed where you are, and there's going to be a thing. So yeah. Well, look, let's get into it. And look, the reason we wanted to do this is we see in your name so much, and it is everywhere. And there's a good reason for it. And we've just been through your stats, and we went through a little bit further than what gets reported. So I'm going to fire some stats out, and then we're going to go into exactly what you've done, where you've been. In your last 3 seasons, so we'll go back to 22-23, you started at Harpenden, is that correct?
Yep.
Now, I've just learned a new term. 2 months into the season, you moved up to step 4 on a 7-dayer, which it was something that I'd never heard of. Do you want to just give a brief outline of what that is for anyone? Because we don't have them at this level, but I think they're fantastic.
Yeah, so at the lower levels, it applies for players that are non-contract. So at step levels like step 4 and below, and a lot at step 3, the players would be on non-contracts. So it's just a way of protecting your players from not leaving straight away. Because obviously, if you're on a contract, then you're tied in. You know, he ain't going anywhere anytime soon. So a 7-dayer is just it's called a 7-dayer approach. So it just gives you 7 days to try and find a replacement. So you're not just left high and dry. So also, if you've got a game on the Tuesday and they approached on the Saturday, you could perhaps play that player on the Tuesday and then let him go off on the Wednesday. So it just helps clubs.
Stops last minute poaching. That's what we were saying, wasn't it? It's when it comes to the transfer window, like we have deadline day and things, and we often see clubs kind of put into positions where they can't afford to really reject an offer, but then it's 10 o'clock at night, the window's got an hour left. Who do they bring in? And they often end up panic buying. So yeah, I like that. I think that's a fantastic idea. We should definitely there should be some limits on that. There should be an end of deadline window, but if you sell someone within those last 7 days, you should be allowed to replace that specific player and position, I think, for a little bit longer. I think, Hannah, we're onto something there. Let's get on to the EFL. So season 22-23, I think across the season, I think you played for several clubs that year, but finished 46 goals and 16 assists. Yep. Which is just it's not a bad return, is it? You went into the 23-24 season. You signed for Amersham.
Yep, signed for Amersham.
Yeah, that's local to yourself, isn't it? That's local down
local.
Watford area.
I knew some of the players down there. They trained right by my house. They had a club with good ambition, so it was a perfect little move.
76 goals and 26 assists. That's 102 contributions that one season.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I think I might have played maybe 42, 44 games, and I didn't really play any of the kind of cup games either because I'd be
Wow.
rested on them. So, yeah, quite impressive.
But you know what? It doesn't stop because you obviously you were at step 6 for that first season, and then you went up to step 5 with Amersham. And this season just finished 51 goals and 14 assists. Now, am I right in saying 42 in the league?
I think I think so, but I'm not 100% not 100% sure. One thing I do know is for someone with a lot of goals this season, I rarely took pens and maybe scored 2 or 3. The season before,
Wow.
maybe 5 or 6 penalties.
Wow. So open play. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
That's why people were talking about Birmingham this season with Stansfield when he got his 20 odd goals, but like 17 of them were penalties, and everyone
Yeah.
wrote them off because it was penalties. Do you know how many league games you played to get those 42 goals? So, guys, you're probably wondering why there was a weird little cut there, and that's because I don't plan these things ever, and I don't like to write things down, and I don't like to make notes, but I did tonight. I thought, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be more professional. That is out of the window now, and it's never happening again, Hannah. Please don't let me make any notes because I got them wrong. So we're coming back to the 24-25 season, which was step 5 for Amersham. 51 goals, 14 assists, 45 goals in the league, and 6 goals in an FA Cup run that you went on.
Yeah, correct.
Banging. And then 14 assists. So that gives, and this is what people aren't really talking about, because what we're seeing online is we're seeing 170 plus goals over 3 years. There's 56 assists on top of that as well. So there's just under 229 goal contributions in 3 seasons. Like, those are ridiculous numbers. And for the last 2 years, you've finished, possibly even 3 years, I'm not sure what the 22-23 one was, but finished top scorer in the country.
The first season, I think I was like 3rd or 4th.
My word, some players had some banging seasons in 22-23, didn't they? Yeah, was that where Haaland had that really good season? I think it was, wasn't it? It was his first season. Well, look, you've left Amersham now, and there was a lot of things around that. You kind of gave a statement online about it, and it was, I'm guessing, to do with the manager. You'd played under the manager. You'd had quite a lot of good things to say about the manager. The manager stepped down after 3 seasons. What was sort of going through your mind coming to the end of this season? Was it something that you'd thought you might do anyway because you wanted to sort of step up and move that a little bit further, and you thought you had that chance to do so, or did that kind of trigger the movement for you?
So, with all the attention I was getting online, mainly because critics are quick to say step 6 football isn't great, which I agree, it isn't great. But step 5 is a credible level which people actually do respect, albeit again, it's not the highest of heights, but people take note of it. So when I was doing really well in that season, I knew it was time to kick on come the end of the season. So I was kind of just looking at the options. I was kind of working out what kind of level I'd suit. And then obviously very close with the manager, so I was always in the loop with what he was thinking, what he was doing. And he just wasn't backed financially, so he didn't want to then stay another season because what we did as a club, finishing 3rd,
Yeah,
was an incredible achievement. I get a lot of the spotlight for it, and it takes a lot away from the side, which is annoying at times. It's a bit unfair on the lads. Like, you talked about my first season at the club, we scored the most goals in the country. Like, we had 110 points, maybe something like it was incredible. And obviously I was a big part of that. But no, I knew it was time to step on, and with all the comments and of comments of people saying, like, praising me, and all the haters saying you need to go find a proper level, it kind of fueled me on to, yeah, give it a go and test myself.
yeah. and not short of options either. Sorry, Hannah.
No, I was going to say, so what does that look like when you decide that you want to play at a high level? Like, like Liam said, loads of options are presented them, but how have you kind of gone out and found those options? Like, what did selling yourself look like?
So a lot of the people just approach me on like Twitter messages, or a good non-league manager or coach or head of recruitment will be able to get your number within a few calls, and I would get that all the time. Unknown number, unknown number, and it would be kind of annoying at times because you think, who's giving them my number? But if it was a good club, you don't mind it. You pick up the phone. So yeah, it was a mixture of things, but obviously people see the goal scoring record. And when I made a tweet saying I was a free agent and I was looking for my next opportunity, the tweet got 900,000 views, and it had up to 3,000 likes, which was just astonishing for a non-league player to get that much attention. I think I had about 1,000 followers at the time, so the numbers were just ridiculous. And if football's a small world, especially non-league football, so a lot of people have seen it. So it was quite easy getting interest from clubs, because if they hadn't seen it, quite frankly, they probably haven't got Twitter.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's sort of towards the back end of last season, you started to see it more and more, and it was we were just getting notifications and just little clips. And one clip that came to me was the goal from halfway, which on the byline as well, which wasn't even just halfway. That was further than halfway because of where you were on the pitch. Talk us through that goal, because to have that vision to do that, it's something that you can't teach. You can't teach that. It's just it's an instinct, isn't it? Because you don't have time to think at that point.
Yeah, no, it was a good goal. I just got the ball on the turn. I knew the keeper was out because he had just kicked it and he didn't kick it very well. So I knew he was going to be backpedaling. So as soon as I got it, I knew the keeper ain't going to be quick enough to run that fast. So I knew all I got to do is look up quickly, take a shot, and luckily it went in. But the things you don't see are I scored the scruffiest 1 yard tap in that game as well.
They all count.
People only see the good ones, but it was frustrating that game. Crew Alexandra come down to watch, which was great. However, I was a one yellow card away from a 1 match ban. So I was told not to jump for a header, not to go near a player. It looked like, I'll promise you, I was jogging about the full 90, albeit I scored two. But it genuinely looked like I didn't want to be there, because we was playing the league leaders in the coming weeks, and there was other top opponents. I couldn't afford to get booked, and it was near December time, and that's when the bookings reset. So it was a bit annoying when I found out a league side was coming down. I'm sure they was impressed by the goal, but me jogging round, not jumping for any headers, probably isn't a great look.
No, and again, that's what people don't see, and people who will, like, in the EFL, we see players where sometimes we watch and think, he's not really giving everything there, but there's things that they're told that you just don't see, and we don't understand, and we have to kind of work it out ourselves sometimes, which can you've seen with Twitter. Once a rumor starts, it just snowballs, and it can be horrific. Another game, and this, I was looking on your profile when we first started talking, because it was the one that I want to know if this is where the interest from a certain club that you may or may not be near came in. Was you played in a showcase game? Yeah. 6 goals and 1 assist in a 7-5 win.
Yeah, that wasn't bad. That was literally last Monday. I got back from holiday on the Sunday evening, and I was absolutely knackered, and I had to get up pretty early. It was an early start. It was like a 10 o'clock meet or something.
Yeah.
So I was a bit tired, but I dusted off the cobwebs quite nicely.
And was that the game where the club came to watch?
There was clubs at that game, but I had already lined up quite a few different opportunities prior. The games where opportunity started rising and people started to stop the hate comments was when I played against Tottenham under 21s. I played against them.
Yeah.
Played really well. Didn't score, but I was really good that day. And even their manager said he come over at the end and asked how old I was, and I thought it's a bit of a shame that I'm 22 because if you asked me maybe 4 years ago, I might have had a chance.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, I played in a different showcase game literally the following day up in Wolves. So I was
Yeah.
pretty tired playing two 90-minute games back to back just after the season ended. And then I scored 3 against them. And when I scored them, all the goals were really good goals as well, and it kind of
Yeah, they were.
silenced all the critics because look, I'm a fair guy. Like I agree, scoring 50 odd goals at step 5 is good, but all the haters say, yeah, I could do it. My nan could do it. I don't think your nan could do it, but I get the argument. However, when you're playing against a professional team and a
Yeah.
Premier League side you're talking about, yeah, look, don't get me wrong, they're gonna be half-hearted playing end of season showcase game. Don't get me wrong, and they'll have some of the youngsters playing, but you can only play the cards you dealt with. Right? It's not up to me whether they play their first team or their second team. But yeah, as soon as I posted them, that's when clubs started to take a serious interest, both from the Wolves and the Tottenham ones, because they're both credible teams, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
Go on. Sorry.
I was going to say, you've got all these clubs kind of expressing an interest. What kind of club and what kind of opportunity are you looking for?
I'm just looking for something where I think I have a good opportunity to go in and play. Like you want a club that has a good pathway for younger players, but also players with little to no background. And there's a few different ones like Fleetwood. They had Jamie Vardy come up their ranks.
Yeah.
Swindon had Charlie Austin, and I'm sure there's many more that I can't think of. Like Wickham with Richard Kone. So they're the sort of clubs that you'd think that's a perfect opportunity. And don't get me wrong, there's plenty more. But you also want like a good manager, a manager that you're going to get on with, and it's all in the manager really. You've got to go somewhere where they're not going to just buy someone for £10 million and you're going to sit on the bench. These clubs with perhaps less money, they need to look elsewhere to kind of find that. So it's just going somewhere where you'll feel loved by the club. You want the managers to show a real interest. Yeah, you're becoming in as a trialist, but you don't want to be treated like a trialist. You want to be treated like any other player.
Yeah. And I think that for you is it's quite an honest way of looking at things, because you are on trial at these clubs, but there's multiple clubs, so the club are also on trial for you, because it's not just about you fitting in for them, it's about them fitting in with you. I want to come back to, you mentioned about like your phone starting to ring and you're getting calls from people and this, that, and the other. Was there anybody that called you that when you answered and you spoke to them, you were like, I can't believe that person's just called me? Like, was there anyone that kind of took you by surprise? And basically, anyone you can name drop, because that's always.
I can't really name drop people because that gives too much away. Yeah. But when I recently I was on a Zoom meeting, and for about 5 minutes of that, it was with the sporting director, and then for about 5-10 minutes of the call, the gaffer jumped on. So that's obviously a great thing to happen. You want to be able to speak to the people at the very top. It's all good hearing the spill from a sporting director, a head of recruitment, whatever they want to name themselves, but the manager's the one that picks a side So yeah, it was good speaking to this guy, and that was a League One team. So that kind of took me by surprise. They was offering to bring me on trial, which was great. And I said, look, I've already got some stuff. And they went even as far to invite me on their pre-season tour to Portugal for a week. So I mean, it's not perhaps quite a normal holiday. Probably won't be able to play as much golf as intended, but it it's just stuff like that. Like that shows the level of interest there is. Yeah, look, I get they want to bring you in on trial because they need to see if you are as good as you are. But the fact that they're willing to do stuff like that, they're not treating you like a just bang average trialist. They're treating you like a first team player until you prove otherwise.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good. Like the clubs that are offering to put me up in accommodation, so I'm not out of pocket. They don't have to do that. I would drive down every day for it. I really would. I'd travel the country for it, or I'd pay for my own hotel if needed.
Yeah.
That's something that you would do. But the fact that some of these clubs are doing that is, I'm just really fortunate, really.
Yeah, and I think that's a big thing for the fans, I think, to hear, because what we see often is players moving, especially when it comes to like League One and League Two. You see players coming for money. You see players coming in. You often see them at the latter end of the career coming down, and it's like a big payday. You mentioned a couple of names of players that have been produced there, and sometimes it does happen. Players come in and it just doesn't work. But to see a player that's willing to kind of do all that stuff off their own back and put themselves out there, that's what people want to see. And that's, I think, why there's a lot of hype around you on social media as well. For you, obviously, pre-season started today. For my team, it started today.
Yeah.
I know you're obviously somewhere doing some stuff. Yeah, Stockport today. So how soon are you looking to get set up? Is it something that you've got these offers or these trials in place? But say the club you're at now, if you get that feeling and it's correct and you think that it's right, if the offer's there, is it a case of this is what I'm looking for, or would it be a case that you still want to go and make sure and check the other options? How is it going to work for you?
I think it all depends on a few things. So, say hypothetically, the first club offers you a deal. That's great, but you've also got to think, like, there's a lot that goes into the decision. Like, you've got to think um, about the manager, the players, the area that you'd perhaps be living in. But also the offer. Look, it's not about money necessarily, because if it was about money, I could play the lower levels and I'd be able to earn more. Like, sometimes you've got to take one step back for two forward.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just the kind of general vibe you get, and how much you really feel loved. Like, any club can offer you a contract, but it depends on how much interest they're really showing into you. Because I could go to two or three, or I could go to one. I guess it all depends on how I perform, and also, I guess, how they perform. Because at the end of the day, they're not offering a contract; they're offering a trial. So you've got to use that trial period as a trial for them as well. Because when you're fortunate enough to have a handful of offers, if they're good, if the first club's gonna offer you a contract, then probably some of the others are going to, just off the back of them offering a contract, because they're all the similar level. So I think you've just got to get a good feel for the environment that you're going to be entering into.
Yeah.
And there's another layer of it that you won't see yet, or might see as a trialist if there's pre-season friendlies. But like you said twice about kind of wanting to feel loved, there's another layer of that you get from the fans. And like, I think that brings it all together. Players that we've had in the past on loans, and they come in and they say, oh, I just felt immediately part of the family. I felt welcomed.
Yeah.
And I think you'll have that at some point as well, that will kind of cement everything. Like there's been chat on social media, and you said before we started about clubs, fans of clubs who they think that there might be an interest, getting excited and knowing your name, and that'll start to give you a sense of it as well. It's nice.
Yeah, the fan stuff is brilliant. Like for someone like me that's never played a professional game to get that much attention and that much, like I know for a fact wherever I go, I know that my announcement tweet will do far more views than their biggest signing of the
Yeah.
summer. And that's just the way it is with the kind of the label that I've got, and but it's also everyone wants to see a young lad that's come from nothing in non-league do well. It's the underdog story that everyone gets behind. So that's also why all the fans they kind of gravitate towards it. So that's great. But yeah, look, I'm not one of them goal scorers that needs and craves attention from anyone, especially the gaffer. Like that's not me. But I think when you're talking about feeling loved, as you said, Hannah, it's about feeling welcomed. It's just it's being felt welcomed into the group. Like I've been to clubs before when I've come in as a trialist and I'm trying to talk to everyone and I don't really feel welcomed in. They're kind of sectioning me off from conversations, and I get, look, everyone's mid-season, everyone's got their mates and they've got their groups, but when you go somewhere and nobody kind of warms to you or welcomes them into your group, I think that's a big thing, and that's also what you got to look for. Like today, I had a great group. Everyone was chatty, welcomed you in, no matter if you was seasoned pro or a youngster. I think that's massively important.
Yeah. I think you've hit the nail on the head with it there. Like it is. There's so much that goes into it, and it's not just a case of, fans can say sign for us, and it isn't all about that. There's so many different factors that you've got to take into account. So, for anyone who's not seen you before, what would Jake Tabor signing for a club look like? What would they be getting when you step out onto that pitch? What sort of player are you? What are you? What are you about? Can I ask before you do answer that? Were you a defender at any stage?
I played right back when I was maybe 16, 17.
Yeah.
That's when I first got into men's football. And they're the sort of positions that are always going spare.
Yeah.
So there was
no one wants to be a Gary Neville, do they? That's what it is. No one wants to be a Gary Neville.
Position available, so I took it, no problem. Because I used to play on the wing. Like for the last 3 seasons, I've always played as a number 11 on the left wing normally. So yeah, I've always played on the wing. So playing one step further back isn't really a great deal different. So I did that to just introduce myself into playing with bigger guys.
Yeah, I the reason I ask is I was watching a sort of a highlights compilation, and it was uploaded 5 years ago, and I
uploaded it, and I don't know how to delete it. It had no views, and it's up to like 1,100 views now. It honestly, and there's like videos of me doing with my like Sunday league team.
Yeah,
and I'm like 15. Yeah. If you search my name on YouTube, it comes up pretty quick, and a lot of people probably like go from one video and then go on to that.
I did.
Yeah,
I did. I was watching it and I was going, "This is the wrong guy. Is this? This is a right back. He's wearing number." I was like, "He's wearing number 2. That can't be." And then I was like, "Oh, yeah." So it's out there, Hannah. Give it a watch. You can't delete it, so get yourself on there. Give it a watch.
Yeah, go and have a look for quick.
Because we're also looking at a right back here as well, a potential right back option for people. So yeah, sorry. The question was, who is Jake Tabor on the pitch? What are we to expect from you when you make this step? When you go out there and you're playing in front of the fans, what can they expect from you?
Yeah, I think one of the main things that fans will like is just my work rate. Like if you come on and you do really well, they're gonna love you. But if you come on and do bad, but you work your nuts off,
yeah,
you can at least leave that pitch saying you gave it your all. Yeah, you might mess up some passes. Like nobody's perfect. I think that's one part of the game that's really good. Like today, for example, first day back in pre-season, we had a fitness test. Out of all 30 of the boys there, I finished first with the quickest time on the 1K. So that kind of goes to show, like, part of the reason why my work rate's so high is because my fitness levels are top. So pressing down defenders, just chasing after the ball is my kind of thing, and then that creates chances. So I'm kind of just a problem to play against, especially if you're like a bigger, slower centre half. Yeah, you might look at me and think, oh, it's easy pickings today. We've got this little kid playing up top, but I'll run you down. I probably won't win a header. But that's when if we got two up top, big and little duo would work perfectly.
Yeah.
That's what I've done in the past. Me getting in off flick-ons, and then just scoring goals are pretty prolific. I'd like to think that climbing the levels, I'd still be prolific. I don't think anything changes, and that's what all the coaches and managers say. It's just a skill. Like, you can't really teach scoring goals massively. You've either got it or you haven't. And that's the same with work rate. It's one of them things you can't really teach, but all the other sides of the game, the tactical, the technical, all of that stuff can be taught. So with a bit of nurturing, I can see my game developing. But yeah, just hard work and goals. No, nothing fancy. I don't do step overs. I've said this many times. People love it. I'm really bad at skills. Like, don't expect me to do much, but I can kick a ball and run. It's pretty effective. So just stick to the basics, really.
Yeah. And the thing is, the goals are 24/8 at all levels. The goals are 24/8. So if you're finding that top corner, you're gonna score goals. And that's you're right. Like, I don't think that's what doesn't change. You know, once if you get that opportunity to have a shot and you know you can hit the target, you're gonna score goals. Yeah.
I really enjoy talking to you. That I wondered before we met whether you would be kind of all ego, like, because what you're doing at the moment in terms of kind of the social media stuff, you have to back yourself.
Yes.
You are hustling and scrapping, and I wondered whether that would cut it. So it's really, I really love for you that you are very kind of humble. You recognize that you don't know everything. You're not a finished player.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's you're
still learning.
Really
good. I'm confident, but I'm not delusional. Like, I had a Zoom call last night with a League Two team, and he liked the confidence, but he also did kind of wonder if I was a bit delusional. And I said to him, I'm not delusional. I'm not one of them people that gets carried away. Like, I told all my pals, I'll be, come pre-season, I'll guarantee I'll be top 3, top 5 fittest. Because I remember I had a meeting with the National League team, and he said, "Oh, the fitness is next level." I said, "No, I promise you, I'd come back one of the fittest." And people kind of doubt you. But look, I just know my strengths. I'm good at running. My fitness is good. We did like weightlifting stuff, and I was probably doing half as good as some of the bigger lads. So it's just knowing what you're good at and what you're not. But the stuff like that, I just need to hit the gym a bit more, perhaps.
I've got an important question. Have you been practicing for any potential initiation songs?
No, but I have chose my song a couple of weeks back. I knew the song I wanted to sing, but I haven't learnt the lyrics yet. But I know this. I don't know what the song's name is, but it's an Ed Sheeran song. It's something that everyone can get behind.
Nice.
But it's easy to sing to. I sang to a Taylor Swift one before. I did Blank Space.
Which is, there's nothing wrong with that. Hannah's a massive Swiftie.
I am a massive Swiftie.
Yeah, but people don't get behind it as much.
Yeah.
You want that people can join in, so you're not by yourself the whole time. And the one before that was honestly the worst thing you would ever seen. I was such a shy 18-year-old. It was on a coach, everyone was drinking. I was, that video's out there, and it probably ain't very good.
Is that awesome? That's out there as well. What were you singing? It helps me narrow it down.
I don't know. I just stood there like red as a
Oh.
tomato. Yeah, it wouldn't have been anything great. At that point, I didn't even really listen to music, so I was like, I don't even know what to sing.
At least you're prepared.
What would you do,
Yeah,
Hannah?
I'll be prepared this time.
What would I do?
What would your initiation song be? I'd do "Smack My Bitch Up" by The Prodigy. I think.
Well,
so
in my new car, I've got karaoke in the car, and we were doing "Baby Got Back," driving to my mum and dad's the other day while the cricket was on. Yeah, it was. So "Baby Got Back."
So if there's anyone that needs to know how unsafe new cars are, you can sing karaoke whilst driving, apparently.
Well, no. So the way it works, so it's on the screen in the back and it's on the screen in the front, and you basically have to say that the driver isn't reading the lyrics, which obviously I wasn't because I know them all.
That is appalling, Hannah. Well, look, Jake, what we don't want to do is we don't want to go too far at this point, purely because you're in the middle of a really, really important part of your football journey. And I think what we should do is we've kind of hinted. People let's be honest. People know where you are. We're not saying where you are, but people know. Well, I say people know. Depends when we put this out.
Well, I think we need to put it out quickly because I feel like clubs that are talking to Jake at the moment have an opportunity to see, kind of find out what you really like as a person and what drives you and, your ambitions and things like that. So
yeah, absolutely. So what I think we do is I think we kind of wait until the back end of pre-season and find out where this journey's taken you, and then we'll get back together and we can talk about how your pre-season's gone. And we'll
watch the video of the initiation song.
Oh, I will have it ready to go. I will try.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'll have to get.
I'll try and get them all. I'll try and get all your initiation. I'll find the 18-year-old red as a tomato one. I'll have that queued up, ready to go, and we'll get that out, and we'll get back together, and we can talk about in a little bit more detail. Because, like you say, you don't want to. I suppose it's putting a lot of expectation on your own shoulders if you start going into naming clubs and things like that, because the fans are then expecting.
Yeah.
So, and you don't want to do that. There's a lot of pressure on you already for this pre-season. We fully understand that.
I don't mind the pressure. I don't feel the pressure.
Do you not?
I don't.
I do.
Nah, not one bit. Like my mates say, "Are you nervous? Are you nervous for tomorrow?" I say no. I say not one bit, and that's not me putting it on. Like I'd say it straight as a dice. But no, I'm not nervous.
Wow.
I think I was nervous the first time when I went to Wickham last season. But that was 2 seasons ago, I think. But this season now, I don't feel nervous. I think because a lot of people, like today, for example, some of the senior pros go, "You're the guy off Twitter." Like, so I think that kind of eases you in. Like, I get that all the time. I remember I was in this summer on my holiday. I was in IB for it. In 4 a.m, someone come up to me saying, "You're that Twitter guy." Like, it's nuts. So I think because people kind of have heard about you, it kind of eases you in. And today I don't catch you on running, and then that kind of turns everyone's heads, and instantly you get a bit of respect. So I think I'm on good stead. But no, I don't feel nervous because I'm a step 5 footballer at the end of the day. If I go and play step 3 or step 2 next season, I've had a good season. That's a good jump. Anything higher is just great, but I'm not putting the pressure on. There's no pressure.
Yeah, I love that. I do like that. I like that. Like Hannah says, you've got confidence to back yourself, but you also know where your skills lie. You know where you're able to excel, and it's all about you just focusing on what you can control. And I love that. Like to being able to just narrow down on those things and not worry about the things that are completely out of your control. I think that's perfect. So honestly, thank you very much for this. I do think we come back at the end of the summer. Let's see where you're at. Let's see if you're in a different hotel room, or maybe the same one.
Who knows?
Never know. Maybe you might be in a nice house. Well, look, guys, thank you very much for tonight. It's been beautiful. It's nice to be back. We are pushing some more stuff. We're going to be doing a lot more this season because we're now back in the same league. Because I went and got promoted this year, finally. Yeah, Sarcevic, boom. out there. Thank you very much, guys. We will see you next time. We'll be back with some pre-League One and post-League Two content in the next coming week or so.
Yes.
Jake, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Been a pleasure and good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you both. Thank you.
The lower league look, the place it's all